I really hope that the speaker tonight, is interesting, because if not, I'm going home. Alrighty, so we know what the talk is about tonight. It's about UAPs or UFOs, whichever one you prefer to call them by these days. All right, back in the day. And just to give a context as to how this falls into our main interest, which is astronomy. To me, the primary goal of astronomy, or at least one of the major goals, has been to find out if we are the only habitable planet in the universe. So evidence has come up which is ancillary and to that discussion, but still at the same time is very applicable, because we do have a certain amount of evidence which points to the fact that there is technology which humanity has not created yet. And technology which is being documented, is being cataloged more and more and more as time goes on. And our government has finally gotten to the place where they are making some acknowledgement of the phenomena, even if they're not making an acknowledgement of the source of the phenomena. So we're going to get started right now. Oh, right. And we have to study at the most basic level, which is a study in human perception. How human beings register and catalog and process information, especially visual information. Okay, so what I'm going to ask everybody here to do is to participate in a little experiment. All right, and if you've seen this experiment before, if you're aware of it, I'm going to ask you just to keep any comments to yourself just till the end of the experiment. Nope, that's not working.
This is a test of selective attention. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball.
Okay. So how many times do they pass the basketball? Dave? 15 times. John?
I got 13.
13. No.
14.
Gordon, how many? Okay. Did anybody notice anything unusual?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Look to yourself.
Gorilla.
How many passes did you count? Correct answer is 15 passes. When did you see the gorilla?
The gorilla. Right here we go. I can hear you.
What have they been doing?
I don't know.
Okay. All right, we're just going to test the audio here, folks.
Press down again, it should start.
This is a test of selective attention.
Okay, good.
Count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball.
All right. So we ran through this part of the experiment. I apologize for the delay there, folks. We're going to see another one. To start off with, how many people noticed the gorilla the first time? Okay, so about 10%, about 15% of us, one half a human, noticed. On top of it, 15 to 20% of us noticed this, which is about the way it works in real life.
How many
Now, we're
passes
gonna
did you
see
count?
Another one, another study. This
The
is
correct answer is 15 passes.
Yeah, we know.
But did you?
Shut up. Okay. So here's another one. This is called the door study. You're only required to watch this one.
The door study. This video shows a participant from a 1998 study by Daniel Simons and Daniel Levin. Watch what happens as the unsuspecting pedestrian provides directions. The young man on the left is one of the experimenters. He has approached the white-haired man and asked for directions. Watch closely as two people carrying a door pass between them, and the first experimenter is replaced by someone else. Like many of the people in this study, the pedestrian was entirely unaware that he was talking to a different person. Approximately 50% of the people approached in this study didn't notice when the person they were talking to was replaced by someone else. This study was among the first to demonstrate that change blindness can occur outside of the laboratory. This video is from research by Daniel Simons and Daniel Levin and is copyrighted.
Okay.
It is available for use in talks, training, and teaching on DVDs from VisCog Productions. Learn more at theinvisiblegorilla.com.
All righty. So what this teaches us is that our perception, especially visual perception, is very flawed and very incomplete. Now, these two experiments, think about this, were conducted in a well-lit room with very simple criteria, okay? There is no reason, when you look back on it, why anybody should have missed anything. But this is how human perception works. And what this tells us about human perception is that it's extremely flawed. The brain tends to ignore things that are inconvenient for it to know at a particular time and tends to gather only those things that it requires to accomplish a particular goal. All right. Now imagine what it would be like to see an object in the sky, either in a very bright sky with a reflective object or a very dark sky with a lit object. All right. Now we're introducing a lot more complexity. So when we see something in the sky, we need to be able to take a step back and really try to focus on what we're actually seeing at a given moment in the environment. Yep. Couple of, what do you see here? Do you see 3 or 4?
Yes.
Is that a 6 or a 9?
Right answer.
Thank you. That man grew up in the 60s. There you go. All right. So this is a little off topic, and I'm going to get a little bit preachy here, but this is actually one of my pet peeves. So we are not living in an information age anymore. We are no longer living in an environment where the sources of our information are trying to educate us about the truth and the reality of our environment. Okay, we are receiving information that is tailored to our interests and our preferences. Now, back in the day, for all of us and most of us who are in this room, back in the day, we had a couple of things that are an advantage to receiving information today. Number one, we had a very limited number of sources. Okay, you had the New York Times, you had the Wall Street Journal, you had the Daily News. You came home, you turned on news programs with guys like Walter Cronkite or Roger Mudd. We're going way back, Edward R. Murrow. Okay, and the one thing that all of these sources had in common, or 3 things that they had in common, is that for the most part, they adhered to professional ethics and did not report things that weren't true. Okay, they had a reputation at stake, and people listened to them because they were credible, and they informed them, and they empowered them to act on that information. For the most part, they were required to present both sides of an issue, whether or not they agreed with it. Okay, so if you were watching a particular news service, you knew that it had, and I'm going to get a little political here, not much, you knew that it had a liberal slant or a conservative slant. But for the most part, you were getting the same information that someone else on the other side of the equation was getting, because journalists had professional ethics to present all sides of the truth. We do not live in that environment today. The intention was to inform and to educate the viewer. Now, today, we are receiving information that is targeted to our specific interests and desires, okay? So if you're watching one of the major news networks, you know, there's three of them. You're either getting a conservative point of view, you're getting a liberal point of view, but you're not getting all of the facts. You're being given information that's tailored to help you feel comfortable. In essence, it is tailored to help you to be more convinced about things that you already believe. And the internet is even more diabolical, because while television targets large groups of people, guess what? The internet targets you, and you, and you. And they all use algorithms that tell them what you want to hear, what you will buy, where you will go, what your interests are. And the people who write these algorithms are not stupid. They know that if you receive information that you are not comfortable with, that you will stop watching and you'll move on to someone else who tells you what you want to hear. Real truth is not convenient. Real information is nuanced, complex, and often makes us feel uncomfortable. When I was a kid, I woke up to the Vietnam War every single morning, every day, on the 6 o'clock news. I heard things and saw things that a kid of 6 or 7 today will never see. But I heard both sides of it every single time. I heard about the people who died. I heard about the things that we were accomplishing, and I saw the cost. So keep this in mind when you start researching or if you look up any information about this particular topic. A big disadvantage of what we have right now also with the information age is that for the most part, we don't have people that are trained to give us information. We're receiving information from everyone across the planet who has an opinion on it, whether or not they are qualified to do so. So make sure if you're getting any information from any source that you check with many different sources, that you look for something which does not seem right. And now that I've given everybody a healthy dose of salt, we're going to talk about our case studies. We're going to start off with a few case studies that happened before the internet became so powerful and after it became so powerful. And I think we're still going to find a lot of very compelling evidence. And once again, I do want to apologize. There's going to be a lot of video here. I do feel that this is the most efficient way to transmit the information. We're going to start off with the incident which happened at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana on March 16th, 1967. Now you can see that this Air Force Base is in the middle of nowhere, and that's because it has to be. This is an ICBM silo farm. All right, they kept all the intercontinental ballistic missiles there, ready to go if we had an attack by the Russians or the Chinese, and their job was to respond. We're going to hear from the, I forget what the gentleman's title is, but we're going to hear from this gentleman next. Hold on.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Salas. In 1967, I was a first lieutenant stationed at Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana.
Everybody hear that?
I was a missile launch. And on March 24th, 1967, I was on duty at what we called Oscar Flight. It is a underground capsule hardened site, about 60 feet underground. We had security guards topside. The main guard is called a flight security controller. My commander at the time was Lieutenant Fred Mywald, now Colonel retired Colonel Fred Mywald. Sometime in the evening hours on March 24th, I received a call from one of my topside guards, the flight security controller, stating that they had been observing strange lights in the sky, making odd maneuvers, and wanted to report it. I thought it was kind of a strange report, but I took it seriously. You have to understand we were protecting nuclear weapons, and the reports we generally got were very professional. At any rate, I kind of dismissed the call. He called back about 5 minutes later. This time he was screaming into the phone saying they're looking at an object, a red glowing object hovering just above our front gate. This object was about 30 feet in diameter. He couldn't make out too much of the details of the object, only that it was pulsating, and he had all the guards out there. He was very frightened, wanted me to give him direction. I think I said something like, make sure nothing comes inside the perimeter fence. He immediately hung the phone up. I went to wake my commander, Fred Mywald, who was taking a rest break, told him about the phone call, and just as I told him, our missiles began going into what's called a no-go condition, or unlaunchable. Essentially, they were disabled. One of this object was still hovering over our site, our launch control facility. At that point, we went through our procedures. He reported back to the command post the incident. We also had some security lights, meaning security incursions at some of the launch facilities. So I called the guard back upstairs and directed that a security team be sent out. At this point, the guard told me the object had left at high speed. Again, silent, no noise. The security guards got out to the launch facility and reported back that they were seeing this object again. They also lost radio contact. This incident terminated at that point. We reset the security alarms, but the missiles themselves were still disabled. We had to call in for maintenance teams to come out and bring them back up on alert. The main indication we got from our equipment was this was guidance and control system failure. I want to emphasize that the security people upstairs had no control authority over. They had no equipment up there, no ability to affect any kind of system shutdown on our missiles. All the control systems were underground. We were relieved the next morning. I reported back to the command post, the base, Malmstrom, reported to our squadron commander. He was
We're about to lose
playing the event. I asked him specifically if it could have been an Air Force exercise, and he assured me that it was not an Air Force exercise. There was also a member of the Air Force Office of Special Investigations in the room. He ordered us to not ever talk about this. I even signed a non-disclosure statement to that effect. Didn't talk about it until 1994. I was able to come across a little paragraph in a book called Above Top Secret by Timothy Good. And on page 301 of that book, there's a short paragraph about missiles being shut down while UFOs were overhead. At that point, with the help of Mr. James Klotz, my investigator, we requested the Air Force to send us to shut down, not mentioning the word UFO. We did get the Air Force to classify what we'll call the Echo flight incident. Let me back up a little bit. During the report to the command post, my commander, Fred Mywald, turned to me and said the same thing happened at another site. At the time, I thought he meant that evening, but it turns out the same thing had happened a week earlier. And he was probably referring to the Echo flight. At any rate, at that point, when we got the Echo flight incident declassified, I felt I was able to come forward and start talking about it because I thought that's where I was. It wasn't until later I found out it was an Oscar flight, and I realized that not only our flight had gone down, 10 missiles, but the Echo flight also. A week earlier, on March 16th. We had extensive documentation on the Echo flight incident that we received from the Air Force under Freedom of Information Act. We have the testimony of Walt Fiegel, who was the deputy missile crew commander at Echo flight. I have a couple letters from the commander, Eric Carlson, Colonel Mywald, a telephone interview about this in 1996, and I've got that on tape, and he's given me permission to use that. So we've got audio recordings of some of these witnesses. We've got written statements. We've got documentation from the Air Force. All of this supporting what I just told you. What you have heard here today is evidence of a phenomenon. It sounds fantastic. We presented this evidence of the public interest of open government. Our signatures on affidavits in the press kit that you have attest to the truth of our statements. Our evidence is now public domain. The real question is, what is the public going to do with it? This testimony. It has been a general practice of the media to scoff at these kinds of stories, make light of such testimony. We can only ask that you take the time to give some serious consideration, not only to our statements, but to the statements of other witnesses out there who have similar incidents. There's also documentary evidence that helps support what we have said. We hope you will take the time to at least take a look at those, research this a little bit. And if you do, I think you'll come to this. That we have.
All right, so we have an ICBM complex that sees these phenomena 2 times. What we come to find out is that the missiles went down.
Yeah.
All right, that's pretty serious. Okay, so we have some very credible witnesses, very credible individuals, and a very serious situation. We're going to move on to one more. Before the internet. Okay, this happened at RAF Bentwaters and Woodbridge. These are twin Air Force bases in the southeastern section of Great Britain. This is the largest airborne military. Yeah.
The previous video, when was he getting that speech?
This happened in 2010, both of these speakers. This was a UFO Congress. This was one of the big ones. Okay, so this happened in 2010. Both of these speakers were at the same conference. Okay. A little bit later, we're going to talk about some pilots that actually testified in front of the Congressional Subcommittee or UAPs in 2022 or 23. Okay. So, RAF Bentwaters, Woodbridge, twin military facilities. These are nuclear air wings. They are responsible for making a second strike in case the United States is attacked, and they also have a lot of tactical mission throughout Europe.
Good afternoon.
My name is Charles I. Halt. I retired from the U.S. Air Force in 1991 as a colonel. During my military career, I was base commander of 2 large installations, and at the time of my retirement, I was in the Department of Defense Inspector General's office with total inspection oversight of all services and all service agencies. In 1980, I was reassigned from the Pentagon to RAF as deputy base commander. But that with the 2 base complex, Woodbridge and Bentwaters in England, and 4 FOLs in Germany, and 2 additional standby bases. In December 1980, early in the morning, several policemen discovered strange lights in the forest ridge. 3 patrolmen, Sergeant Peniston, Airman Burroughs, and Airman Cabana-Sack, actually were dispatched into the forest craft. They reported it being triangular, metallic in appearance, with strange markings. They observed it for a period of time, and it very quickly and silently vanished at high speed. Initially, I was not aware of all the details of the nation. 2 nights later, at the family Christmas party, we were interrupted. The on-duty flight commander for the Security Police Squadron, Lieutenant Bruce England, came and approached the base commander and I. He was white as a sheet. He said, "It's back." He said, "What's back?" He said, "The UFO." Well, we still were, I should say, non-believers at that point. Since my boss had to do the presentations, I was tasked, unfortunately, to investigate. So I went home and changed. I really expected to find a logical me. A disaster preparedness NCO who took an APN-27, a Geiger counter, and a camera. I also had my small cassette recorder I carried everywhere when I was on duty. I was taken to the supposed site. We found indentations approximately 1.5 inches deep, approximately 6 on a side, and radial enough to be dangerous to somebody, but significant. Also found broken branches on the trees. One of the individuals with me suddenly spotted something. Off through the forest was a bright, glowing object. The best way I can describe it, it looked like an eye. It was bright red with a dark center. It appeared to be winking. It would sort of wink. It was shedding something like molten metal. It was dripping off it. It silently moved through the trees, avoiding any contact. It bobbed. And at one point, it actually approached us, field beyond the forest, and silently exploded into 5 white objects. Gone. So we went out into the field looking for any evidence because something had apparently been falling off it. Nothing. But while we were searching around in the field, there were 3 or 4 objects in the north, brightly colored, changing from elliptical to round and moving at very high speed and sharp angular movements as though they were doing a grid search. While we were watching them, somebody else noticed to the south there were 2 objects just sort of hovering in the sky. One object approached us at very high speed. Best guess is 3,000 to 5,000 feet, somewhere in that neighborhood. Stopped directly overhead and sent down a concentrated beam at our feet. It was about 1 foot in diameter. The best way I can equate it is sort of a laser beam. We stood there in awe. Was this a warning? Was this an attempt to communicate? Was this a weapon? Or just it disappeared? We stood there, really concerned. About that time, we noticed to the south was sending down beams, about a mile radios with us. The police radio, the security police radio, and I had to command net. All 3 radios were functional. We were talking to control centers. They were constantly breaking up, and we had great difficulties communicating. But we were able to discern that on the police and security net, that some of those beams were either falling into or near the weapons storage area, and there's a great deal of concern. It really bothered me at the time. Every time something of significance happened that night, I kind of clicked on my little tape recorder and recorded it so I'd have a record of it for the next day. Unbeknownst to me, a copy of that was released by one of my coworkers several years later, and hence there was a lot of publicity.
I'm going to zip past some of this.
The tape came out, unbeknownst to me, the memo came out, and a lot of publicity. But the event certainly happened. Now, some things have happened since then. I was very innocent at the time and believed what I was told. I asked the OSI if they had an interest, and I
Got to move past that.
saw it. It's kind of interesting. What did we see? I have no idea what we saw that night. I do know it was under intelligent control, and in my personal opinion, it was either from another dimension or extraterrestrial.
All right, so these are the actual recordings he made that night.
You saw like where? Where? Right in this position here, straight ahead, in between the switch. There it is again. Watch, straight ahead off my flashlight there. There it is. Hey, I see it too. What is it? We don't know, sir. So you can I guess yeah, it's a strange, small red light. Looks beyond maybe a quarter to half mile, maybe further out. I'm going to switch off. The light is gone now. It was approximately 120 degrees from the site. Is it back again? Yes, sir. So we got the flashlight set. Let's move out to the edge of the clearing so I can get a better look at it. See if you can get the star scope on it. The light's still there, and all the barnyard animals have gotten quiet now. Yeah, we're heading about 110 to 120 degrees from the site, out through to the clearing now. Still getting a reading on the meter. About 2 clicks. Maybe count 3 to 4 clicks, getting stronger.
That's radiation.
That's coming up. Hold on, there we go. About approximately 4 foot off the ground. Coming set of 110 degrees. All right, just turn the meter off. Gotta say that again. About 4 feet off the ground, about 110 degrees, getting a reading of about 4 clicks. Yes, sir. Yeah, but no, it's not. I think it's something other than the ground. I think it's something variable here. Tree right over. We just found the first night bird we've seen. We're about 150 or 200 yards from the site. Everything else is just deathly calm. There is no doubt about it. There's some type of strange flashing red light ahead. It's yellow. I saw a yellow tinge in it too. Weird. It appears to be maybe moving a little bit this way. Yes, it's right on past that. Yellow. It's coming this way. It is definitely coming this way. Pieces of it are showing off. There is no doubt about it. This is weird. To the left. Yeah, definitely. Two lights. One light to the front, okay. One light to the left. Keep the flashlights off. There's something very, very strange. Keep the headset on. See if it gets any stronger. Okay. Give us your rundown. Notation that this is on a beta reading, too. It's on a beta reading? Beta still has been removed. Okay. This is falling off it again. It just moved to the right. Yeah. Off to the right. Strange. Oh, well, why don't you left? Let's approach to the edge of the woods up there. You want to do it without lights? Let's do it carefully. Come on. Okay, we're looking at the thing. We're probably about 200 to 300 yards away. It looks like an eye winking at you. It's still moving from side to side. And when you put the star scope on it, it sort of has a hollow center, a dark center. It's like the pupil of an eye looking at you and winking. And the flash is so bright to the star scope that it almost burns your eye. We're past the farmer's house and across in the next field. Now we have multiple sightings of up to 5 lights with a similar shape and all, but they seem to be steady now rather than a pulsating or glow with a red flash. We just crossed the creek, and we're getting what kind of readings now. Getting 3 good clicks on the meter, and we're seeing strange lights in the sky. 244, we're at the far side of the second farmer's field, and rate sighting again about 110 degrees. This looks like it's clear out to the coast. It's right on the horizon. Moves about a bit and flashes from time to time. Still steady or red in color. Also, after negative readings in the solar field, we're picking up slight readings, 4 or 5 clicks now on the meter. 305, we see strange strobe-like flashes to the rather sporadic, but there's definitely something, some kind of phenomenon. 305 at about 10 degrees horizon, drifting north. We've got 2 strange objects, half moon shape, with colored lights on them. But gets to be about 5 to 10 miles out, maybe less. The half moons are now turning into full circles. So I know there was a eclipse or something there for a minute or two. So 2015, now we've got an object about 10 degrees directly south, 10 degrees off the horizon. And the ones to the north are moving, one's moving away from us. Moving out fast. Yeah, they're both heading north. So here he comes from the south. He's coming toward us now. Now we're observing what appears to be a beam coming down to the ground. This is unreal. 330, there's the other 330, and the objects are still in the sky, although the one to the south looks like it's losing a little bit of altitude. We're turning around and heading back toward the base. The object to the south is still beaming down lights to the ground. Over 400 hours, one object still hovering over Woodbridge Base at about 5 to 10 degrees off the horizon, still moving erratic and similar lights and beaming down this area.
Okay. I'm sorry, I know that went on a little long, but pretty strange. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're going to move now to more recent events. This next event is, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's called the Nimitz Aircraft Carrier event. The Nimitz Aircraft Carrier Group was on maneuvers just off the coast of California on November 14, 2004. The Aircraft Carrier Group, an aircraft carrier never goes out alone. It's a very valuable asset, so they send out a lot of support with it. They send out two, these are called cruisers right here, two Ticonderoga class cruisers, two Arleigh Burke class destroyers, a couple of frigates, and then this is an attack submarine right here. All of these ships are linked by a high-speed data system called Link 16. So if any one craft sees any object, it gets immediately reported to the other craft as if they were seeing it themselves. So what had happened on that particular night? One of these cruisers had already been in the area for about 2 weeks. They were basically calibrating their radar off the coast of California, and for that 2-week period, the radar operator kept noticing a flight of either 5 or 10 objects that were flying in formation. The objects would fly at about 28,000 feet at about 100 miles an hour, which is very strange because at that altitude, a conventional craft can't maintain lift at that speed. So he noticed this. He also noticed that they would change height very quickly. They'd go from 80,000 feet down to 28,000 feet, which seemed to be their cruising level, or it would drop straight to the ocean level in about 0.5 of a second. He didn't make anything of it at the time because they weren't moving, they weren't maneuvering in an aggressive fashion. Also, the military tends to be very mission-based. It's not something that's interfering with what he's doing, so there was no investigation. Now, when the Nimitz began its maneuvers and started moving out to their training area, this became an issue because now these aircraft are going to be in their flight area. So he decides, there were 2 F-18s that had launched from the Nimitz at this point. He decides to give them what they call real-world tasking. He took them off the training mission and says, hey, I need you to go out and check out these objects and see if they're going to be a problem. The F-18s had 2 of the most experienced pilots in the Navy. We're going to hear testimony from David Fravor. He was the Air Wing commander, okay? The pilot of the other F-18 was basically a brand new pilot, a woman named Alex, but her backseater, okay, these F-18s have a pilot, and then they have what's called a WISO, a weapons systems operator. The weapons systems operator in her aircraft was a training pilot, or was training her, and he had over 13 years experience. So you had 4 people that witnessed what we're about to see here. Okay, so we're going to hear first from the, and this will be very short. The first person you hear from is the radar operator in the Princeton, the operator from the cruiser, and then we're going to hear from the pilots.
These objects raining out of the sky. True, 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 true. It was raining UFOs. At first, there was like 10 or 12 objects. Watching them on display was like watching the snow fall.
Dave says the ship's system tracked the unidentified objects dropping down from the upper atmosphere and then flying south in what appeared to be an organized formation at an altitude of 28,000 feet.
Their relative position didn't change from each other. They're going real slow, 28,000 feet at 100 knots, which is extremely weird. Usually things that high don't travel that slowly because they'll fall out of the sky.
Kevin Day dispatched 2 pilots to intercept an unidentified craft he picked up on radar.
And I looked down, I go, what is that? And this thing was going like this, like if you put a ping pong ball and it was bouncing off a wall, north, south, and then east, west, north. It's abrupt. It's very abrupt. If a helicopter's going sideways, it's got a speed, it slows down because there's inertia. This thing's not. It's like just kind of moving around, up, down, left, and it's crossing over it. It's going up, kind of. So now we're like, what the hell is that? About 40 feet long. It's white. It has no wings. It has no rotors. It has no control surfaces.
This image of the tic-tac-shaped object was captured by an F-18's weapon systems camera.
It was so unnerving because it was so unpredictable. The particular object was not following any of our rules. It didn't have a turn radius. It didn't have a period to accelerate and decelerate. It just seemed to zip so quickly that it became really confusing for us.
It looks like if you took a 737, put it about 15, 20 feet below the water so the waves breaking over the top and you're going to get white water where the plane is at. We see the white water and that's what draws our eyes down there. Otherwise, we'd have never seen it. So then I go, hey, I'm going to go check it out. The other pilot says, I'm going to stay up here. She can watch me and the Tic Tac. So she gets a God's eye view of everything that's going on, which is really important. Some people go, what is that? And they run. I wanted to get closer, see what it was. The Tic Tac goes, and it kind of points and starts coming up. So now it's mirroring me there. So as we drive around, it's coming up and I'm just coming down. I'm just watching it. So I get over to the 8 o'clock position and I'm a couple thousand feet above it. I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, oh, I've got enough altitude. I'm going to cut across the circle. I tell the guy in my back seat. And as I come up, I can see him as he's crossing. Dude, I'm going to do this. He's like, go for it, skip, because I was a skipper. So now I'm basically pointing back towards east. So I'm cutting across. So as I do this, it goes, as it crosses our nose, it accelerates and literally in less than, probably less than a half second. It just goes, and it's going down because we're flying back and we're talking to him and he's like, hey, sir, you're not going to believe this, but that thing is at your cap. It showed back up. It just popped up. This is like 60 miles away. It just reappears. We're like, oh, okay. So we got the radars out. We're looking for it. We get out there. We never see it. We never see it again. For something to come off the surface of the ocean, to be able to just accelerate to match my speed and then to rapidly go away, we do not possess that technology.
Dave Fravor was my commanding officer. Dave had his encounter. He comes back, I need you to go out to this sector of airspace and try to find it. When he says something like that, I take it seriously.
Chad decided if I can get this thing on video, I'm going to do it.
You can see we just jumped to infrared. Target is now white against a black background. It's the same picture. It's just a different kind of polarity. I told my pilot, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go into every single field of view, Zoom, TV, and just try to bring back as much footage. So we pop the tapes in, I take a look, and every single eyeball in the room was just like wide open, like, whoa. How do I describe this to someone who's going to be, skeptical? And there was kind of that stigma of like, all right, you saw an alien. I'm like, I didn't say I saw an alien. All I can tell you is I couldn't describe it.
There's a lot more videos there. What we're seeing on gun camera footage is being validated and verified by eyewitness testimony, which is also being further substantiated by radar data.
Okay. So now we're going to move to one other case.
These objects raining out of the...
Right, there we go.
These objects
That way. Okay, so a second carrier incident happened off the coast of Virginia on January 15th, 2015. Again, these are, in this case, these are two F-18 Super Hornets. These planes have received significant upgrades in those 11 years. To begin with, this is the radar that was used in 2004. It's called an AN/APG-73. This is what you think of when you think of a radar unit. This is basically what you think of with a radar unit. It's a mechanical radar. It bobs back and forth. It sits in the nose of the aircraft, and it can only see basically, the area of the sky that the radar is turned to. Okay, and it can see in several bands, in several different radar frequencies. All right. By 2015, we had moved in to this is called an AN/APG 79 radar. This is an AESA radar. This is electronic, active electronically scanned array. This radar is capable of seeing 180 degrees at once, and it broadcasts in about 30,000 different frequencies at once. Now, when they installed this radar in the aircraft, all of a sudden, the same type of encounters that you saw in 2004, they were seeing them almost every flight. And that was one reason why Congress decided that they had to have a meeting about UAPs, because they realized this was becoming probably always had been, a real flight hazard, and there was no way for pilots to record or report what was happening. In fact, it got to the place where pilots were being sent up with basically a little pad on their thighs that they could pull out and make a report while they were in flight. So let's see this. Okay.
Dude, that is a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. It is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's look at that thing. It's rotating.
Okay. Now, next video I have to show you, it's very short, is of a UFO being hit by a Hellfire missile. All right, here we go.
Admiral Gallaudet, Lou Elizondo, and Mr. Gold, and the many others that have come forward. We hear you, and it's time that we, enough is enough. It's time that we take action. Look, I'm not jumped to the conclusion that I believe that there are, aliens coming from another planet, but I'm open to that. And I think that it's our responsibility, especially when we're seeing that we have a government that is actively blocking information from us. Just last night, I tried to get an amendment onto the National Defense Authorization Act that fit in the germaneness of that bill to have UAP disclosure. And conveniently, it was named non-germane, mostly deemed by staff, not even an elected official. This is the kind of stuff that we repeatedly see. Last year, we were blocked by someone in House administration from being able to receive a full briefing from Arrow. So not an elected official, but someone in staff blocked us. And I've had it. Enough is enough. I want to cue up a video that I've been given. And as before it starts, I'm going to describe, this was taken October 30th of 2024. This video is of an MQ-9 drone tracking an orb, or this object, off the coast of Yemen. You'll see that another MQ-9 launched a Hellfire missile. That you cannot see that drone, and so I'm not going to explain it to you. You'll see exactly what it does.
A flash means the laser designator was turned on.
This is when it's zoomed out, so you can still see it traveling. So, Mr. Knapp, have you heard about events like this occurring? And what information might you have? I have heard about events like this. I have heard about this event. Jeremy Corbell and I talked about it in one of our episodes a while back. We did not have the video though. There are servers where there's a whole bank of these kind of videos that Congress has not been allowed to see, but the public hasn't been allowed to see. Occasionally some of that stuff gets out in the wild and it comes our way. It should be going to you. The public should be seeing this stuff. And why you're not allowed to, I don't know, but that's so just so you can see, this is a Hellfire missile. A Hellfire missile is about 100 pounds, and it travels at Mach 1.3. And the amount of kinetic energy that it transferred to this object could have been around 34,000 pounds. The reason that a missile didn't go off is that it's designed to be near the ground missile. They used it to hit an air-to-air target, and the tubes just didn't work. So if anyone's interested, this is the committee, the subcommittee on UAPs and whistleblowers. You can see it on YouTube in full.